Greetings, friends. It's a little bit of a pop-up Friday night stream. Sort of planned. I missed a couple days this week, so I wanted to jump on there and stream a bit. So this weekend, this Sunday, I'll be starting a new playtest of Tales of the Harrowed Land, and I thought it would be a good time to work on some content. Start with my usual pitch. If you happen upon this stream when it's not live, you know where I'm at. Twitch TV from the Tomes. Feel free to go do a search on YouTube for Fox and Board Games, and that's where these will all eventually be archived long term. And then there will also be content there, additional game content there that only appears on YouTube, including playthroughs of Tales of the Harrowed Land and rules discussions, and hopefully some actual live play sessions. foxandboardgames.com and Twitter and Facebook at foxandboardgames.com. Thanks a lot for everybody who has liked and subscribed and all that stuff. It really helps me, and I encourage you to do that if you like what you see here. And if you don't like what you see, tell me how I can improve it. Always open to suggestions. As always, if you are on lurking, I only get maybe 10% of the folks who come on and watch the stream who talk or even hit the follow button. And again, that's totally up to you. As they say, you do you, but if, I welcome everybody to say hi at least or give me some feedback and chat. I enjoy that. That's part of why I'm doing this. But I'm also totally cool if people just want to lurk. I get that. I do that on a few streams myself. Let's see. So we've got my notes going on for this week. The other thing I have to do is kind of get all the rules together and get them up online. So any potential playtesters who jump on will have access to all the rules. materials. I think I'm going to run the simpler scenario to start. Those of you who've been following me know I'm kind of working on two different new playtest scenarios. I have one existing playtest scenario for this game, Tales of the Hallowed Land, and one long-term campaign playtest. And obviously, I won't be rerunning the long-term campaign playtest. That was a year and a half or so of material. But I'll probably be extracting parts of that to put in to game stuff, game publications. But I'm thinking of The Witch's Curse. That's the working title. And that will actually get started somewhere in October, I think, with some of my in-person group. And then I'll run it for my online group. And then hopefully I'll be putting it out for other people to test and play and jump in and play. I'll probably be on a bit Sunday too before the before the character creation session, talking a little bit about the changes I've made to that. I've had a lot of people ask me how I organize scenarios, and I usually start with notes that are something like this. Like a step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. That gives us a general idea of how it's going to go. I'll also take another quick look at the character creation materials. I'll be working on this scenario and ironing out all the details over the next several weeks, just so that we have something in play. I was going to do a whole discussion on naming, considering there was some extensive discussion with a friend of mine regarding the choices of names in the new Lord of the Rings show. and how some of the names totally don't jive with the cultural origins as laid out in the source material. But again, I understand we're in the vast minority of people who actually have studied linguistic development and stuff like that, and that was Tolkien's whole point. He was a linguist. So again, I don't have problems with the show, except for some of the names and some of the cultural changes. I'm kind of like, was it really necessary to make those changes? You could have read a little bit of his work and come up with a new name for certain characters. They have these kind of Celtic-y names, and they're supposed to be this like Proto-Indic people. But again, I get it. I'm in the vast minority of people who care about things like that for TV shows. So, but as some of you know, I've spent a lot of time working on the names and the language for this game. So as a person who does that, I'm kind of like, get to a little research. Like for example, because this is the document I'm looking at currently, I kind of set up a name structure for all this different cultures. For example, the Fror language, and if you want to say there's a barbarian culture, the Fror would be them, though they're not. The rooted language is rooted in their tribal structures, rooted to Eastern, more closely to early Eastern European cultures, versus like Vikings or Scandinavian or any of the things we would typically think, or Celtic, the things we would typically think of as like barbarian tribes. Though I would argue the Hungars and the Magyars and the Vandals and all those people were Slavic cultures, or come from Slavic roots. So that's kind of where I based this off of. But I based it on a Finno-Ugric Hungarian root, and then kind of went through and dissected a couple names. Dissected a couple parts of the language to create names. A couple people tuned in yesterday when I was making the trailer for this channel. That was a lot of fun. I had about 6 takes, I think, to do a minute trailer. Then, of course, after the first 2, I realized it was way too long to fit the 59 seconds, so I had to chop it. I did a lot of reading as to whether or not a trailer is really worth it. I don't know, like 50% of the people are like, I just want to see content, and I want to judge for myself. The other 50% say when they stumble across a channel, they look for a trailer. Considering I've got a number of views already on the trailer. Got about a dozen views on the trailer in less than 24 hours. Not bad for a static. Video there. My quick start guide. I'll go back to that. How much info is in that? Let's see, where did I put this? Character sheets. There we go. Quick creation guide. I think this is all Langa, but I didn't spell languages. It's funny. Got my Iron Maiden-ish font going on there. Quite intentional, of course. Have some debate. It's right there. The Varinka. So their story I've kind of hinted at before. They're kind of the Lovecraftian cult of family / society / cult of sorcerers that have taken over this old abandoned ruin in the far south of the kingdoms. And I say their city harbors a dark secret. I mean, I obviously have an idea of what the dark secret is, and you know, if you know all the source material I draw upon, you could probably draw some reasonable conclusions. But like, how much do I say in the game itself? Is it important for the game master to know to tell the game master what the secret is, or should the secret be something they get to make up? That's funny. It's not a major typo. Well, that's why I'm looking through this stuff again now. As I've mentioned, all the documents are pre-edit in terms of completion. correct that typo in that creation guide. Illustrator lesson too. There, spelling counts. Make sure everything else is on target with this. All right. There's PDF. All right, that should be. On target, so you don't need to preserve that. There you go, make it a little smaller. Hey, there he is. Layout stream. That's right, Peach. Thanks for subscribing, sir. What's new with PJ? So you'll appreciate this. The partner is off seeing Ghost, and I'm here by myself. So I decided to stream a little bit. Seeing Ghost and Mastodon in Spirit Box, and a buddy who's really into Spirit Box and likes Ghost went with her. Why I'm not there is a long story I'm not going to get into right now. Hey, it's nothing domestic, nothing personal. It was just, I was supposed to be doing something else tonight. Yeah, Ramstein, man. That's like winning the lottery, getting tickets. Did you have tickets? or no? I know people in Germany who still haven't. Oh, for pre-COVID. Yeah, yeah. That's like our Vordruna tickets. I mean, we just saw Vordruna in Norway, but we were gonna go see them again in DC. Yeah, we were gonna. Hey, there's Nikki. How are you? We were gonna go see them again. Big issue ended up being that it's just the way it worked out in DC. There's no physical way we can get there on a weeknight. We had tickets for Vordruna for 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. But Rammstein, I saw them years ago in a small venue when they were pretty new, and I was just like, I don't even know what I'm seeing. But that's the only time I've ever seen them. And again, like I said, I know people. Yeah, the Electric Factory. Blake was with it. Blake was with me at Rammstein. It was Rammstein and Soulfly, and Rammstein was good, but Soulfly kicked some serious ass. Yeah, Heilung was amazing. I saw them in Norway too. I mean, I'm not like bragging, but that's part of the reason why I didn't like push to see them. And again, I was gonna go see them in Brooklyn or Manhattan, wherever they just played, but again, it was on a weeknight, and we were kind of like, we're not really close to New York City. We're not far, but we're far enough that I can't hop on a train and be there in a half hour. So, or 45 minutes, like when we lived in North Jersey. But yeah. So anyway, our first Teschle gig back was supposed to be tonight. That's why I didn't buy a ticket for Ghost, or she didn't get me a ticket for Ghost. And I was kind of like, and then not only her, but like other friends who were going to meet her there, like, do you want us to buy you a ticket? I'm like, don't worry about it. I like Ghost. She's really into Ghost. I did get tickets for King Diamond and Creator though, or Merciful Fate and Creator though, in November. I was like, I've never seen Creator live, and I really, really want to. I have seen Merciful Fate. I saw almost the original lineup in 1990 when they did a reunion in New York. But yeah, missing Rammstein. Teschale is how you say it. It's Proto-Indic. In my discussion of languages tonight. Well, not real. I'm really not discussing languages. I'm touching on it as I babble on about other stuff. That's fine. Everybody does. I wanted to pronounce it differently. Yeah, the details are rough. Yeah, like I said, I'd still like to see them again. But like I said, I was just talking to a bunch of Germans who are like, we've never seen Rammstein. Like tickets there. They play arenas. Well, they play arenas here now. They've been playing arenas in Germany for years. They're like, they're ACDC, like that equivalent, right? Like, they come through and everybody buys tickets to go see it because it's just such a spectacle. But it's just crazy that she's never seen him. She's. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like. Yeah, Midnight. Midnight's really good too. I saw them open for Abbott 2 years ago, right before COVID. That was one of the last shows I saw before COVID. Was Abbott and Midnight, and Obituary was the headliner. But I had just seen Obituary at Beer and Metal, so I didn't stay for Obituary. But Abbott was really who I was ever seeing. But Midnight's just crazy. They're like, imagine if Venom had been really, really good at their instruments early on. Yeah, Midnight's great. And they're just fun. Like they don't take themselves seriously. They're kind of ridiculous and great. I mean, they're almost like the Mentors crossed with Venom without all the misogyny. Well, without most of the misogyny. There's still some of that old school metal misogyny in there, but not as severe as like, G.G. Allen and the Mentors or anybody like that. Yeah, Creator, I've never seen Creator. And I don't know how I've never seen them, but I was kind of like Merciful Fate I'd like to see again. But Merciful Fate, Creator, and Midnight I really, really want to see. So we just got tickets for that. Oh yeah, yeah. They are absolutely just an extrapolation of Venom. That's completely all they are, and that's fine. Even some of their lyrics are like taken like lifted right out of Venom songs, and you're just like, I don't even care. It's like Mork. Mork is basically Dark Throne. Yeah. So Creator is one of those bands I like listening to on a recording, but I've never loved listening to them on a recording. But every time I've seen video of them live, I've just been sitting there like, wow, how does this band exist and I haven't seen them in the 40 years or whatever they've been around? Just never made it. Never saw Destruction either. I really like I like them better than Creator. The two German thrash, masters. Destruction is another one of those bands you'd listen to their first two or three releases and you realize there's only three people doing this and you're like, wow, how's that even happen? But yeah, I regret missing Mastodon. They're another band I don't I'm not nuts about them, but they're so complicated and everything they do is so different. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly how Destruction is. They're like krautrock, thrash metal, Schlager music, like with these bizarre lyrics, and their lyrics were really bizarre. I mean, it was kind of like, okay. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I was wondering that. Like live, I mean, they're so technical. Yes, yes, that is. Well, I like exactly. I like listening to Dream Theater. Any video I've ever seen of Dream Theater, I've just been bored to tears, and I'm like, of course it's perfect because they're Dream Theater. But if I wanted perfect, I would sit home and listen to the album. Now Rammstein's another one though. They're like Kraftwerk. I mean, Kraftwerk was their main influence. Like it's so mechanical. Everything they do is perfect. But then they have dildos and fire. So of course we're there for that. So, but yeah, I debated just grabbing even like scalping a ticket and going tonight. I'm like, you know what? I like Ghost. I really like Ghost. I don't really need to see them again just yet. And Spirit Box, my buddy Justin, who comes on here often, is really into Spirit Box, and he really wants to see them. And I'm kind of like, they're interesting. I don't feel a driving, burning need to see them, and I wanted to see Mastodon. But yeah, I could walk away with that same impression, going, not into. So that's the thing with a lot of that technical stuff, where I'd rather see. Foxy, I don't know them. Foxy. I'd rather see Midnight, who gets up there and they're just like a crazy bunch of idiots, and they're put on this real show, and it's so overblown, it's so ridiculous. Or like Amon Amarth, I mean, we got tickets for them too. We're kind of obligated to now though. It's definitely different. The first time we saw them was opening for Maiden. Then we saw them in a smaller venue that was theater. It was shown in the theater, and that was really good. It was weird. It was almost like seeing like Sticks or like somebody like that like in a smaller like theater venue. Yeah, well, yeah, Monster Magnet in a small club, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I don't know them, Nikki. Yeah. Well, that's kind of like when I see some of these old guys, I'm like, wow, they're still alive. How? Like even King Diamond, sometimes I'm kind of like, I remember there was that infamous picture of him and Slayer and like this mound of cocaine, and I'm just like how is this guy even still alive, much less singing like that? Yeah, seriously. I've been enjoying your Queen posts. I obviously since I posted the exploited yesterday, pickled. Yeah, yeah, like Ozzy. He's like a golem. He's like purely an automaton at this point. He's like this shell that has kept going through these iterations. And he's been driven by all that leftover drugs and alcohol in his body. Or even Alice Cooper. And Alice Cooper's been clean for years, but it's still amazing he's alive. Yeah, considering I decided to celebrate yesterday or not celebrate, but commemorate yesterday by thousands of Space Marines. Dustin inside an armored suit. Seriously, he's a Vorlon. he's a heavy metal Vorlon. There's some essence inside him. Yeah, it's decided to commemorate the Queen by posting the exploited yesterday. I'm like, whatever. I mean, again, the people I know who are really posting about the Queen, though, a few of them really surprise me, given their personal, ancestral, and spiritual advocations. I'm kind of like, you're celebrating the Queen of England? Like, I mean, whatever. Like, again, I'm not, that's cool, but wow. You know, you see Irish pagans posting about, you know, the Queen. I'm just like, really? I don't think that means what you think it means. You know? Oh, I bet. I bet. I bet. One of my friends, actually a German, posted, let's celebrate all the indigenous people who actually survived British colonial occupation all over the world of the last, 800 years or whatever. So oh, well, yeah, well, I'm not going to go down that road. Not even going to go down that road of Maggie. I mean, the Kennedys wrote whole albums about her. The Exploited wrote whole albums about her. I'm like, we won't even. I unfriended a person in real life at one point for calling themselves a Thatcher conservative. Well, I'm not, I consider myself a Thatcher. I was like, what does that mean? I was like, I'd almost rather just, scream MAGA or whatever. I'm like, a Thatcher conservative. I'm like, wow. And this is a person who's younger than, I think, well, maybe not Nikki, but younger than anyone else here, and is highly educated. And this person said that, and I was just like, wow, Thatcher conservative. It's like, yeah, I don't think we're going to reply to your text anymore. Your private messages anymore, which were mostly just about, like, heathen stuff and music and stuff. I was like, yeah, I don't think we can exist in the same world. So what's going on with gaming? We know what's going on with gaming and Blake. Blake's running some kick-ass D&D for us. Really imaginative and well-crafted stuff. I didn't know if you had a game tonight, BJ. I was wondering if you were going to pop up. I couldn't remember if you had on a game night tonight. £3 million, yeah. That's pretty. It's good, Blake. Seriously, the three of us were sitting there talking about your game this past weekend and how Tom, Diane, and I, and how much we really loved it. We were like, this game's great. Yeah, seriously, for £3 million to go to Thatcher's funeral. God. But that says everything. That says everything about Thatcher right there. Cool. Well, a lot of things can happen in a pseudo-Scandinavian winter. There's all kinds of interesting things that can happen in a pseudo-Scandinavian winter in a fantasy setting. I bet. Westeros had a pseudo-Scandinavian winter that Included Barrow-wights and everything. and Draugr and everything. I'm trying to finalize. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the Scandinavian winter is actually pseudo-Scandinavian winter is actually a good time for those personal plot lines. How many players do you have again? I forget how many you're working with. I'm just keeping an eye out for texts. I think they're still in the midst of the concert, but just to make sure. Six, yeah. That's like I said, that was the size of my group at peak. And it's big. That's a lot of people. I think we'll be running. I think if as it stands now, we'll be running the Tails sessions with three players plus me, which is actually again four would probably be the optimum number, but having three is all right. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, no, that's eight's too many. Even when we had Tom come down for a couple of the game sessions, yeah, eight, no thanks. I mean, Blake, you know how hard it is to manage what, five of us now, and we're in a pretty linear plot, so that's not even as bad. But if we all started doing our own thing, that would be like, forget it. I mean, my group plays really well, even with a lot of people, plays well together, but still, just six people. And then when we had Tom down, we had seven. I was just like, it's just too big. Like I said, one more for the Tails play test would be cool, but or the Tails sessions. Oh yeah, well, so that's what I've talked about. Right. I mean, that's the counterbalance in 5e. It's like either you have, especially once you get to about fourth or fifth level. I think they had just hit fourth level and they met the fire giant, and I didn't even expect them to decide to try to fight this fire giant. I just assumed they'd run. They were like, "No, we're going to take it down," and they did. I mean, a couple of them got beaten up really well, but they did take it down at fourth level. A fire giant. So like that mathematically, like even in my third ed brain doesn't compute. In fact, the last third ed game I ran was a pseudo against the Giants session, and we had like 6 or 7 players from the Syracuse group, and I think at most they were all seventh or eighth level. I think at most they were fighting 2 Giants at any one time, and taking a lot of damage. But yeah, and then if you turn around, like let's say I don't know, I'm just gonna throw out a dragon just because it's an easy example. You have a dragon, and the players get their first round of actions, even at like fifth level, they're not going to kill it, and then it breathes, and they all die. That's the problem with fifth ed in that regard, is it does have a little bit of the balance issue there. Or the jar like last night, the ogre. If I hadn't healed myself, that ogre would have totally taken me down in 2 shots. And we were we're third level, but still, and I knew it. I knew it when it came at me. I was like, okay, here we go. This will end one of 2 ways. And it might end one way very quickly. But the dwarf will always go toe to toe with an ogre, even if it means possible demise. Yeah, I decided to come on and stream a little bit tonight. Because I had a couple people know I had a medical thing that had to be taken care of, and it basically just killed 2 days of my life this week. So nothing immediately crucial or dangerous, but needed to do it. And then yeah, so I just had to make up a little bit of time. And hey, there's Alyssa. How's it going? Rhiannon's Lark. Nice to see you. Again, we already talked once today, but nice to see you again in the digital realm. So there we have PJ, everyone I know tonight. We have PJ, who's been a long time LARP friend of mine and a gaming friend in general for not as long as Blake, but a long time. And Nikki, who's a former student of mine. She is the generational counterpoint to all the rest of us who usually come on here, are usually my age or about my age or a little bit in that frame. Yeah, no, my dwarf was not going to back down from that ogre. Was definitely not. Even if it kills him, he definitely wasn't. I mean, they came at me, and I was like, okay, this is how it's going to go. Yes, and I know Nikki's talked about getting some of her peers and friends. At one point, her partner was on to come on and discuss things from their point of view, because that's what I'm actually hoping we see a little bit more of as the months roll on, is some different points of view. In fact, at Rhiannon's Lark, we've talked about her coming on and talking a little bit about her experience as a musician in the gaming and con scene and all that. And I think that'd be cool to be a very different perspective than a lot of people who come on here have. So I think that'll be cool. And I am looking at a couple possible other people to bring on almost as like guests, just to give some different opinions, viewpoints. I kind of hate being the talking head all the time, but I know to start, that's how it is. So. But yeah, I'd like, and I know, like I said, I have a couple other former students who are avid gamers. Like Marvin came on that one night, and he had some really good input on the character races. And again, he's coming from a different generation, a different cultural background. He's originally Venezuelan. So his idea on all this, in terms of the very concept of race, like we talked about that night, was different. You know, it was an interesting discussion. In fact, Rhiannon's Lark and her group did one of the early play tests of this system when it was still much more bare bones. In fact, maybe we'll try to arrange that over the winter again. We'll see. See everybody's time looks. Play the advanced version, the developed version. Yes, that was quite amusing, and I'm glad it didn't have the same result. Blake was here for the Call of Cthulhu game where people decided to crawl into the sarcophagus and ended up disappearing, and being scattered to various areas in the universe, and that was quite good. So it's a good thing it didn't end up that way. But crawling in the tomb was not a bad idea, especially as a sorcerer with darkness capabilities. You were able to learn things from the darkness in the tomb. The magic system's really different. Oh, it's not different. It's really revised from when you played it too. It's a little more structured. The free form is cool, but that really free form magic, it's so hard to like being cat bombed. If you see there's a cat. A cat is about to make an appearance, is making an appearance over my shoulder. Wondering why I'm not on the couch. She's normally sitting on my couch, on my lap on the couch this time of night. Being Laszlo, he has a little collar with bats on it. So he can go bat and go flying around. I'll probably hang out for another 15, 20 minutes or so. There he goes. Yeah, for those who logged in, pretty much my goal tonight is to just kind of tone everything up for the character creation run on Sunday with Mel, Justin, and Diana. I think that'll be fun. When we do our online games Thursday night, I always talk about a cat sitting on my lap, and this is what happens. As anyone who has looked at this before can see, this is the new character creation document, and it's greatly fleshed out, even from when Blake and Tom and those guys played it. Do I still have the... I should close Illustrator before this crashes. Though I do have an extra drive in for expanded memory. Let's see. He's about to attack the microphone. This should be interesting. He's sitting next to the microphone. He's not the more vocal of the two, though. He is sniffing the microphone. So, let's see. So, cat. And now he's attacking the microphone, as is predictable. Let's see. So there's the character creation guide I've worked on. I also like to chew wires and chew plastic. Some of you know he cost me about $100 due to chewing on the laptop screen. I brought it in, and the guy in the Apple store was like, "Do you have a cat?" I'm like, "Yeah." So let's look at cat bite. Oh, really? Of course, I knew the cat had at some point chewed on the screen. Let's see. Yeah, he's kind of ridiculous. He just wants attention now. Like I say, this is the time he's normally splayed out on my lap on the couch, and he's wondering what I'm doing here. Sorry, cat. Gotta wait a few minutes. This is the character quick creation guide I worked up. And I think this will really help people at least get the basic structure of the characters down. I updated the character sheet. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I can't even imagine what these two would do with an aquarium. As Blake knows, I used to have several large aquariums. I can't. My cats my old cats that I had then kind of ignored it. These two I think would really be avid fishers. Even this guy, the big pudgy guy, is a very good mouser. He's caught 2 so far. Yeah, they just noticed it. They just got bored enough to notice it. That's what happens. Now he's distracted by something else, which is fine. I guess I should also open up a Google Drive and start getting this stuff up where people can actually see it. Start thinking about organizing that. I won't show you all that because it's got all my stuff in it. Drive. Yeah, turn a TV, exactly. Cat TV. They're really obsessed with the front window. For those of you that have been at the house, which I think is actually a good number of you, that looks out just to the driveway, and there's obviously something out there that interests them. I don't know if there are birds that hang out near the window that I don't notice, but I think this is the Google Drive where I have my stuff. Yes, I know you're pathetic and desperate. You might even think you're starving to death. It is getting up to 9:30. It's been 4 whole hours since you've eaten anything. Yes, I know. Beta rules. Official playtest documents. I guess that's where I will put this. I guess that makes sense to put it there. Okay, we'll look at that message. And character sheets. Alright, so update the character sheets. That'll be the first thing. Quick start guide. Print character sheets. And fillable. I think those are the right ones. Yeah. Really? Oh, the dog came down. Now he's very excited. The dog's here. They're very confused. This is normally the time of the night that they hang out on the couch. Sorry, dog. You have to wait a little bit too. Maybe the finished document is what I should actually do. That would be good. Yes, replace that. All right. Print sheet, fillable sheet. I think I'm going to. Do I make a folder just for this playtest? It's probably the best thing to do. Guess I can remove those folders from 2019. I've probably updated it since then. Better save this document down. Well, thanks for coming on, folks. It's fun. Fun to have a few people show up. Like I said, this was kind of just a impromptu. Yeah, got some time tonight. No other plans. Let's do a little stream. So all the amusement of cats and a dog. Friday's actually not a bad time to stream. I was last Friday afternoon. I was on for a couple hours, and I ended up picking up some new subscribers, which was kind of cool. New followers. It was kind of cool. I was like, okay. German board game designer. Somehow just stumbled onto my stream. It was kind of coincidental. That whole interesting conversation with him, considering he lives not too far from where the family in Germany lives. It was kind of uncanny. It's not an area where I would think a hip game designer would live. Of course, maybe he's not that hip. Let's see, skills. Because I should make sure these are all updated. Rituals, I should just re-upload all of it. Anything the players might use. All right, folks, I think I'm gonna call it a night for the stream. Feed some animals and do a few other things. Thanks a ton for coming on. It's great chatting with everybody. Conclude in my usual fashion. Yep, catch you later, Blake. I'll conclude in my usual fashion. See you later, Nikki. Where I give my pitch. And thanks for everyone for coming on. If you're watching this live on Twitch, you know where to find me, From the Tomes. If you have not, maybe head over to YouTube and search Fox and Board Games. That's where I'll be adding additional content and archiving these eventually. Some are already up there, about 30 videos, including some stuff just for YouTube. Find everything at foxandboardgames.com. Twitter and Facebook, Fox and Board Games. Feel free to hit that follow button, subscribe, like my various channels. That really helps me. This is definitely becoming a mainstay as I work on these games and get the game company up and running. I really appreciate people coming on. I really enjoy the interaction and the feedback. So thanks a lot, and see you next time.